Hello and welcome to Robojit Gaming and welcome to another Steam Summer Sale video. So this is a list of my recommendations. These are all games that I have and I have played. Some of them I've completed multiple times. So there'll be a wide mix. I've gone for different genres just to mix things up a bit. So let's start first with Darkest Dungeon. So if you're familiar with the channel, you already know this one. This game is, in my opinion, one of the greatest games ever made. It is simply amazing. It has turn-based combat, dark fantasy, wonderful narration, and it has that roguelike element, some permadeath for your characters. Very difficult, but at the same time very rewarding as well if you plan and play properly. So yeah, so basically you are in a hamlet and you have to send your heroes, four of them, to a dungeon, and you have to send them with some provisions and make sure they are prepared for the fight. Each dungeon has different characteristics and you have to fight the monsters that lurk within. Different monsters in different areas. Now your characters can die if you run into a very hard fight, which is most of the case, and then you come back and regroup and try again. So basically you can level up a character, they can die very quickly, so you have to be careful. And yeah, it's just a very stressful game, let's put it that way. So this is 70% off, 330 in India, $749, 629 pounds, and 975 in Canada, 735 in the Eurozone. I have more than 100 hours in this game, so I would highly recommend this, but it does take a little time getting into this. I have even made a separate guide for beginners. If you want, you can have a look at that as well. I'll put it here in the top right so you can get started, and once you get the hang of it, it becomes easier. Next is one of my favorite open world games with some car driving. This is Mad Max. So set within the Mad Max universe, you are Mad Max and you want your car back. So you run into a warlord who steals your car, and then you have to get up and find a basic car with the help of a religious mechanic, and together you go about upgrading that car and reducing the influence of the warlord. Now, on the face of it, it sounds like a typical open world game, but it had a lot more fun element to it. It was not that difficult. A lot of customization for your car. You had a lot of combat options for the car as well. You can also upgrade Max, and he had some good hand-to-hand combat in here. Overall, it was, in my opinion, a hidden gem in many ways because not a lot of people cared for this game. It launched on the same day as Metal Gear Solid 5, so everybody was going after that one. And yeah, I thought this was an amazing game. Now, this is 75% off, 269 in India, $5, 4 pounds, 749 in Canada, 5 in the Eurozone. Graveyard Keeper. So this is your Stardew Valley style game, pixel art with RPG elements. Now instead of managing a farm, you're managing a graveyard. So, and you have to upgrade the church around it, clear up all the dead trees, and a lot more to do. Basically, you have a house. You also have to take care of the morgue, bury the corpses. There's like a full tree here, as you can see, for upgrading all the things. You have to build tools. You need to store wood somewhere. You also need to do a bit of farming. There's a town, and you have like many named NPCs that you have to interact with. And there's an interesting story as well with some supernatural elements. Let's put it that way. So yeah, it's also got dark humor here. And yeah, overall, very enjoyable game. I have like 70, 80 hours in this game. So this is 65% off, $7, 308 in India, 586 in the UK, and 9 in Canada, 682 in the Eurozone. There's a Last Journey edition, which includes 3 more DLCs, which are sort of expansions, but they work within the main game. So you don't have to sort of finish the main game and then play those. They are like included like further areas with some side activities to do. So you could get that as well if you wanted. But yeah, I really like this game. Middle-earth: Shadow of War. So a AAA game that I actually like, and this is mostly here because of its satisfying combat. I don't particularly care for the story here. Bright Lord, Dark Lord, I don't give a shit. But the combat is fantastic here. You have your own orc army that you control, and even after you finish the game, there's plenty of stuff to do online in the online fortress missions. And these are not online fortress missions where you need online players. So you go and take over established fortresses with different warlords sitting there. And in the first game, you had this where you could avenge other players being killed by named orcs, and you can go and take them out. So yeah, overall, very fun. And then the famous Nemesis system, that is just amazing here. So this is, let's go for the definitive version. 85% off, 404 in India, $9, £6, 12 in Canada, 7.49 in the Eurozone. Next is Subnautica. So another game that is just very interesting and nothing else like it. So you crash land on an alien planet that is just ocean. So it's an ocean planet, and you are in like a small life pod which has a lot of things to keep you going, and then you swim underwater, get resources, establish bases, and there's a story here, but the story is not handholdy at all. You have to listen to um, audio logs and things like that to figure out what's going on and try to survive and find resources. Ultimately, your aim is to get off the planet. Some mysterious stuff going on, weird creatures, some very deadly ones, and yeah, just amazing. You can make and craft all these underwater things like the pods, the sea moth. There's even a submarine, a prawn suit. A lot of interesting things here. So you can see overwhelmingly positive reviews. Also, in December of last year, 22, they upgraded the game even further. They added a lot more content from the sequel. They basically added some crafting modules for the houses and stuff. They also improved some of the textures and stuff, because when I played this, they had some texture pop-ins. So a lot of these things have been improved and polished further. So this is 67% off, $989, $494 in India, $824 in the UK, 13 in Canada, $989 in the Eurozone. Next is GreedFall. So this is a game that I personally like a lot, but as you can see, the reviews are overall not that great, because there is a certain type of feel to this game that appeals to me that may not work for a lot of people. So this is a character-driven RPG. The thing I like about these games is the interesting, unique worlds they create. Spiders, the developer, all their games have this interesting storyline and settings, and this is no different. There are multiple factions in this game, and you are sort of like the representative for the Merchants Guild, and you have to go to a new island, which is like a new land they have found, and you have to interact with the different factions that are trying to occupy that island, and also the natives there. And there's also a bit of a mysterious story going on, so you have to figure that out. Meanwhile, the old continent is suffering from a disease, so you are trying to go there, and maybe in the hopes that you might find some cure as well. So yeah, very interesting sort of new world setting, as they call it. And yeah, I liked it quite a lot. I no-lifed it when it first came out in 2019 within a week. So this is 72% off, $475 in India, $979, $839 in the UK, 12 in Canada, $979 in the Eurozone. Later on, they also added the DLC, the Vespe Conspiracy. I have not played that, so I don't know how good that is, but the base game is fantastic. Next is Frostpunk. So this is by far my favorite new strategy type of game. So this is a survival city builder, and you are a colony of people who are in the north. They don't mention exactly, maybe North Pole or closer somewhere. And basically, it's an alternate Victorian era setting where the world is freezing over. You and your group of survivors go north, and you set up your base around these massive generators here. These are run with coal, and you have to survive by building houses around this, upgrading your technology to make the houses warmer, better insulation. Of course, you create greenhouses to cook and have more food. You need hunters, you need people who can go and look for things, scavenge things. You also have to go and look for other survivors and things like that. So as the game progresses, your cities will grow bigger and bigger, more things to manage. You have to basically ration the food, the coal supply, and make sure everybody's warm. And if the generator shuts down, that's it, game over. So managing is very hard. Even on the easiest difficulties, it can be a challenge. 90%, you can see here positive reviews. This is 80% off, $6, $2.60 in India, £5, $7.79 in Canada, and $6 in the Eurozone. Dome Keeper, so this is a newer game I played last year. This is a mining game, roguelike, and you are basically a dome keeper. You have a dome here, you go on an alien planet, you go down to dig for resources, you have periodic waves of attacks from the alien creatures, you come back, defend your base, go down, start digging, and upgrade the dome, improve it, repair it, upgrade your weapons, I guess, and yeah, so keep going, multiple modes. One mode you have to go and discover something buried deep within, and as soon as you find that, you have completed the mission. There are endless modes as well, and they've added even more modes that I haven't played that have come out very recently. So another fantastic little game, 40% off, $10.79, $4.86 in India, £9, 14 in Canada, $10.79 in the Eurozone. Cloudpunk. So another relaxing sort of game. You are in a cyberpunk city called Nivalis, and you are a delivery driver. And yeah, it's a game where you take parcels and deliver them without asking questions. But obviously, there is a lot more going on. There are interesting stories of the inhabitants. Your own stories, interesting, I suppose. Although I did not particularly like the main character. The protagonist was a little annoying, in my opinion. But other than that, the story, the world, the best part was the cyberpunk city they created here. It's always raining, and it's done in that Minecraft style of what do you call it, voxel art. And after I'd finished playing this, they even added a first-person mode for the driving that I haven't tried, because initially it was just third-person outside driving like this, but then later on you got a first-person view as well. So plenty of content, and they're also making a second game where you are basically in the city, but it's more of a life sim where you go around, set up businesses and explore the city. That should be coming out soon as well. But in the meantime, you can check this out. This is 65% off, £7, $7, $2.79 in India, $5.94 in the UK, 9 in Canada, and 7 in the Eurozone. This is a combat-free game, so you won't have any issues with dying and stuff like that, but there are interesting things happening story-wise. Next is bullets per minute. So another mention for this game. This is a rhythm FPS game. So you have to jump, reload, and shoot in sync with the music and clear levels in a simple term. Of course, you have a lot of options. You have different characters that you can choose that give you different weapons and different style of upgrades. And yeah, the color palette may look a bit too saturated, but you have settings to manage it better. But yeah, overall, I find this very enjoyable, very relaxing. Optimized game, will run on lower end hardware comfortably. And yeah, pretty fun. I would recommend playing this on the hardest difficulty so you get more satisfaction, I suppose. So this is 75% off, 132 in India only, $5, 387 pounds, 569 in Canada, 419 in the Eurozone.